you complete your 4th semester, you give your final examination, and then you join ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization. That is my aim of my life, to work in aerospace. And then it was okay. Then I completed my final year. I did that. I went back to my village, and in my village, it was just 3,000 population village. So I told everyone that, oh, I got a job. I got a job in ISRO and all that and all that. But for 1 month, 1.5 months, I did not get any appointment letter. Then I got scared. And in a village, people started teasing me. They say, hey, you're speaking lie. You have not got any job. Bekar hai, bekar hai. Then I became panicky. But that time to contact ISRO from my native place in Maharashtra was very difficult. There were no telephones and all that. Then I applied for PhD program in Bombay IIT. And that too in biomechanics. That is the application of medical sciences into engineering mechanics. And I was the only student in Bombay IIT for that subject. But after 3 months, one fine morning, I got a call from my father from a village, and he said, they were illiterate. My parents were illiterate. They said, some envelope has come and we don't know what is there. Then I told them, you go to the teacher and ask him to read it for me. He said, you have been appointed into Indian Space Research Organization. Then immediately I left Bombay IIT, I came to my native place, and then I joined ISRO. Then I worked in ISRO for 2 years with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in SLV3 project. And then many of my colleagues and friends, they were going to NASA and USA for further studies and all that. I also got an opportunity. Then I told my parents that I am going to USA, that is for a job. Then my parents said, nothing doing, you cannot go. You cannot go. The moment you leave India, we are going to die. We are going to, so they emotionally blackmailed me. And then my hot temper, then I said, nothing doing. If you don't allow me to go to USA, I'm not going to stay in Trivandrum also, because Trivandrum in Kerala, that was far away from there. Then I left ISRO, I came back to my native place. And then my native place, for about 6 months, I worked as a laborer in farms, a space engineer without any job. But then a sugar factory was coming in, and I was appointed as a chief engineer there. Then for 2 years I worked there, and then I came to Nashik for my bread and butter. And then I worked almost for 35 years as a consulting engineer for my industrial projects, sugar and textile. Most of them were World Bank projects and all that. Then I always had these innovative ideas in my mind, right from my childhood. Innovative ideas. Always think, kuch to bhi hatke, always like that. And then I had a very big office, and about 23 people were working, and 9 computers in my office and all that. And this pressing World Bank projects and all those things. And that time there was load shedding, power shortage and all that. Then I went for a battery backup system. That was very good. But the situation came that there was not enough power to charge the batteries. And then I said, oh God, what to do? I had such a pressing work. I cannot afford to waste even a single minute. Because my people, they would be very happy, read magazines and all that when there is no power. Then I said, no, it can be done. Then I wrote to different people in solar and wind and all that. Fortunately, nobody replied to me, because they were big elephants and my requirement was just like a fly or a machar. Then I said, after all, I am an engineer. I must do something. Then, even though I was very busy in my office, then I started researching on wind energy as well as solar energy and all that. And then I concentrated upon wind energy. And then I said, I will develop something on my own. When you really want to do something from the bottom of your heart, God always comes to your help. And how God came to my help? He made me seriously ill. And I had a major surgery. and I had a suspected cancer. And then after the surgery for about 8 to 9 months, I was bedridden. During that period, I did a lot of study of electrical and mechanical engineering, right from the textbooks, and then particularly design of alternator. Then I'm so proud to tell you now that I have developed an alternator for a windmill to generate electricity at the lowest ever RPM and lowest ever wind velocity, which is a world record. Nobody has done it. A civil engineer doing a research in electrical engineering and developing an alternator. And for that, I got a patent also. A civil engineer getting a patent for an electrical problem. And then I got a tool, that a low RPM alternator with me. Then I met with a lot of applications and all that. Then I studied automobile engineering to run a car on wind energy.
Okay.
Then
So that
gymnasium
motivated
bicycle.
you. Your previous patent motivated you for going in front in automobile as well. Right?
Yeah. Then so many other applications I developed. Then I have a farm also. Basically, I'm a farmer and from a farmer family. I have a farm. So when there was a labor shortage or labor not available at a proper time, then I said I can't depend upon these people. So I developed a lot of farm equipments to get rid of the labor. And then just by observations, I got the highest yield of wheat in India just by observations without any extra cost and all that. Then I got 5 Rudraksha trees in the backyard of my house. And one day I just went and I was just chewing that leaf. I have a little diabetes. And I said, oh, it's the best medicine for diabetes. Then with this Ayurveda college here, then I made experiments on the juice of that leaves of Rudraksha trees. And then I developed a medicine for diabetes. So I work in almost 10 engineering branches. I have a passion.
It was due to the
I have a passion for software writing.
Okay.
Because if you have to do any mathematical calculation more than twice, I have never done it the third time. I wrote a software.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my passion. And I have written, so more than 80 softwares I have written in different fields, in electrical for the windmill and generator and all those things. And of course, RCC, structural, aeronautics. And the last software I have written is about astrology.
Astrology. Okay.
That also I have written. So all those things, So if you have set a goal and if you think in 360 degrees, see, people ask me, hey, you are a civil engineer. How could you develop such an innovative product in electrical engineering? Then I replied to them, I could do all that in electrical engineering because I'm not an electrical engineer. And it irritates them. They get irritated. Hey, what nonsense you're talking. Then I said, no, it's not that. It is because I think in 360 degrees, I am not biased, I am not prejudiced, and I have no shame or fear of my failures because I'm not an electrical engineer. If I'm a civil engineer and if I have failure, I will feel shameful because I am trained in that. When I'm not trained in any other branch and if I get failure, doesn't matter. So you have to think. And my motto of my life, my principle in my life is, I have not to prove that I am right.
Okay.
You have to prove that I am wrong.
Okay.
And that's how I did a lot of innovative ideas in my consulting engineers profession also. So that's how I could do all that. And of course, whenever I get some time, I write poems, I write articles and all those things. And my most passion is now about space technology. My alma mater in ISRO. That I will talk later. Now let my friends ask me something.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So the end line which you said that was really important, that always have a 360 view, right? Because it's purely through passion that you have able a civil engineer starting way back, then coming into ISRO, then again farming, then again wind energy, and how your journey went. Purely an example of 360. The circle completes, and then again you got back and then you got transferred to USA, and then we'll get back to that again. Okay, so sir, again a similar question coming in, like since you have had an experience to understand the difficulties or the plus and minus points of so many different streams of engineering in compared to 1970 and 2020, so what would be your suggestion that a particular student should go for, like what would be your suggestion in
Yeah,
today's time?
yeah, yeah. See, this generation, say since last 15, 20 years or so, you people are really very fortunate because you have the greatest exposure to latest technologies like television, like internet,
Mhm.
like communication facilities and all that. Now sitting at home within the four walls, now you can get connected to the whole world. That was not a situation when we were studying,
Yes.
right from 1960 to 1970 and all that.
Mhm.
So guru, teacher was the only source of knowledge for us. Nowadays, you people, unfortunately, sorry for that, but unfortunately, you people think that you need not go to guru or teacher or anything. Just type on Google or Wikipedia and you get everything. So you don't even need to go to the classroom or something like that. No, that is not there. Whatever you get is only information and not the knowledge. First, try to differentiate between what is information and what is knowledge. Knowledge is the application of information.
Okay.
That is most important thing. So that is the thing. Now, particularly with this corona lockdown and all that,
Mhm.
I have been all the time thinking that a new system of education is likely to emerge now.
Okay.
Because you all, my friends, you are sitting in your home within the four walls, unless you have adventure to go out. But that, please don't do that. So now you have online courses, you have online classes, and all these things. A new system of education, audio, video technology are going to be most useful. That is going to change your life now, unless you have to go for a particular experiment
Mhm.
where a physical presence is required.
Right.
So that type of thing is there. But one thing is there. Now you are first year, second year, or even final year students. That's what I was told.
Yes, yes.
So what is more important is you have to set your goal in your life.
Okay.
Set that goal, whatever it is. Even if, see, if you want to act in films, I have not put in my biodata that I have also acted in films and TV serials. I have also produced some films also. That was just one fine morning I got up and I said, oh, I want to act in films. But nobody is going to give me a chance, no? With this face, nobody is going to give me a chance. So I said, okay, why should I ask and beg to somebody to give me a chance? So I will produce the films and I will give chance to others
Wow.
like that. So whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do. If you want to play a cricket, okay. Football, okay. If you want to play music, okay. So get fully dedicated to that. Now, I always give a example. Virat Kohli earned 17 crores and the highest CEO got only 14 crores. And Virat Kohli is not equally qualified or experienced with that CEO. So that is your passion. You have to devote maximum to your passion and to your liking. And that is always going to give you satisfaction and pleasure. Ultimately, now this corona has already taught us that money has no value. So what is important in life is satisfaction and pleasure. And what you are going to get it from? From your work. From your work. There are very few people in the society who get work of their liking. Many people just carry the burden, that's all. So instead of that, do whatever you like and do whatever from you get satisfaction and pleasure. That is most important.
That is really well put there, sir. Okay, then there's one more question that how was your job experience in ISRO, like working alongside the missile man himself? So how was that? How was the working experience there?
That is the golden period of my life, I would say.
Okay.
Again, that was totally a different experience. That is, we were not treating our job as a job. We were treating it as a research work, and whatever salary we were getting, that we were taking as a scholarship or a stipend.
Oh, wow.
We had absolutely no limitations, no कोई बंधन नहीं था, कुछ नहीं. That is what was the most important. There were two shifts, one at 8 o'clock and other at 9:30.
Okay.
You could go anytime. You could go anytime. You could leave anytime. You may not go to the office. Nobody is going to ask you why you did not come. There was no muster to sign that you have to come or a fingerprint or anything. Nothing like that. You had total freedom of your work. And friends, mind well, when you have all that freedom, that gives you the most responsibility and accountability, answerability. Because, and on my left side, we were total 108 people in our structures division. 50% were PhDs, most of them PhDs done in USA or England or something like that. Others were minimum qualification to enter was MTech. And most of 90% of 95% of them were from IITs and IISc. So all that. So there was total freedom. Nobody is going to ask you what you are doing. But what was the more important thing is for your promotions. What was asked? How many papers you have published, where you have published, how many people have taken reference of your paper in their work and all that. And what was your contribution into that time SLV3 was the only project going on. What was your contribution into that? So that was all that. So everybody, even on Sundays, even for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, they used to work. No holiday, nothing like that. Nobody is going to ask you, but still you were putting maximum of yours. And friends, the average age of ISRO in 1972 was only 28 years. Only 28, all the young chaps and people like Vikram Sarabhai, Dr. Abdul Kalam, Dr. Vasantrao Gowarikar, Dr. Brahma Prakash, Professor M.G.K. Menon, all these people were there to motivate you. Something like that. You were always, oh, I have to do something. I have to do something great for my nation. That was the actually motivation and inspiration to work. So we were always working, even at night, even on Sundays, even on vacation, everything. There was no earned leave, there was no medical leave, there was no casual leave, nothing like that. If you want, you come. If you don't want, you don't come. I'll just tell you a small example. I was going to get married and I went to, and there was only one clerk who was also a personal assistant to our head of the division, and there was only one peon, and the area was very vast. So to take the documents from one office to other office, that peon was there. Nobody was there to clean your table. Nobody was there to bring you a cup of tea or a glass of water. Nobody. And that I went to him and I asked, sir, I want leave. He said, what leave? I said, no, I'm going to get married. So I have to go to my village. So I want to leave. I want leave. He said, no, there is nothing like leave. You go whenever you want. You come whenever you want. I said, how can it be like that? He said, no, just report to me that you have come back. But it was 72 hours journey from Trivandrum to my place. So 3 days coming, 3 days going, and only 4 days I attended. I was there for my marriage because I had given one program to computer and I was so anxious to get the answers. The moment I came back at 6 o'clock in the evening, at 7 o'clock, I went to the office, collected my computer results. My wife was very scared. Oh, what is this man? I have just landed here and he has gone to office. That was the passion. That was also the requirement.
Basically, sir, like what you're trying to say, we shouldn't be motivated by the materialistic things like money or everything. You people were totally motivated by self-driven knowledge. So that would be the concluding experience of your message there, right? Like because everyone nowadays works for money, but as you said, you guys didn't work for money. It was basically purely for knowledge and experience, right?
And see, you had that set goal, no? That we wanted to develop a rocket to
Yes.
launch satellites.
Okay.
That was the basic thing.
Yes.
So everybody was devoted to that.
Okay. So
And as far as money is concerned, now you would have seen some videos of Italy, that those people have thrown away the money on the roads. They said this money is not going to save us.
Okay.
So they have shown the real value of money in this corona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's another question. What message will you give to the 21-year-old version of like yourself, or any other message to teenager if you were a part of our generation right now? What message would you be giving to?
If I have been of this generation, I would not be in a place to give any message, because I would be just one of you.
No,
but
you
what
yourself giving a message to your younger version, what would that be? You giving a message.
No, that message is, the only message is devote your time, your energy, your experience, your knowledge, everything to whatever you like.
Okay.
Whatever may be there. If you really like this thing, you do that. As I told you earlier, that is one important thing. Second thing is your ethical values. That is the most important thing. Why we are so different from the Western world, and why Western world is copying us. Now they are copying us, and unfortunately we are copying them. It's another story. But unfortunately, so you do everything for your satisfaction. Only your satisfaction, because inner soul has to be satisfied. And that inner soul never gets satisfied only with money or position or a big bungalow or a big car or anything. No. Even a man living in a slum can be more satisfied than you.
Yes.
So what is most important in life is satisfaction. And your devotion to your work. You have to do justice to your work. As I always tell my engineer friend, that if you are learning engineering, whatever branch it may be, then you give justice to that education. My friends, what they do BE, then they go for MBA, and they join some bank or some financial institution, and they forget every engineering, because there is hardly any scope. Then why you wasted somebody's place? If you had to go only for bank, why you learned all this engineering then? Even a BA or a BCom can go for MBA. Okay. Why you wasted that thing?
I'll just similarly there, sir. Yeah, since you're very short on time, I'll just take in another small question. It's just typically a yes or no kind of question. As you said, in your time, the education system, it was very open. You know, like you could choose any subject you want. Apart from the one that you are mastering in.
That was only in IISc. That was only in IISc.
Okay.
Not in COEP.
Okay. So in current Indian education system, are you satisfied with how the current Indian education system is? The exam pattern or the entire education system? Like, are you satisfied with it?
See, our education system is on an objective nature. That is just like Kaun Banega Crorepati. There are 4 options and you have to select one. So that gives you only information, that doesn't give you any knowledge. Okay. So it has to be subjective. You have to apply that thing for knowledge only and not for information. Okay. So our education system should not be examination oriented. It should be vocation oriented. Because the moment you come out, you are going to sell yourself into the market. And industry is not going to put money for your training. They want result on the very first day. So what the industry always tells, oh, this pressure, they are good for nothing. They are good for nothing. And that is the biggest problem of employability of engineers in India. Okay. Because they really don't have any practical experience. Okay. So they have all the information, they don't have any knowledge. Okay. So that has to be emphasized during our education system. So industry, education, academia interactions, more of a project work, more of site visits, more of interaction with industries working, having the blue.
There again, sorry, since we have less than a minute left on the meeting. So in conclusion is we should be more towards practical knowledge. That's what we should do. As much as educational knowledge we earn, that's what the final message from you would be. So today, I really thank you, sir, for giving us such a wonderful session and look into your life and sharing your experience with us. So from the entire BVP family, I'm really thankful to you to coming here, sparing such time on such a short notice for every one of us. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. And I wish you a very bright future. Stay home, stay safe.
Thank you so much.